The 175-pound boxing division is by far the most competitive it has ever been. The current top 5 light heavyweight boxers are all either at the elite level or right on the cusp of it. Today, we're going to look at the superb talent that has guided this division to its golden era. As always, we'll be rating them by giving them stats for 5 key traits. The first is power, how often the fighter knocks down or knocks out opponents. Hand speed, the speed of their combinations and jabs. Endurance, how much punishment they can take to the head and body and keep fighting well. Gas tank, whether they can manage their energy well enough to perform well in the later rounds. Technique, footwork, head movement, downloading information during the fight, and any other tools the fighter may have in their arsenal. And finally, we give them a rating out of 5 stars. Up first, we have Gilberto Ramirez, also known as Zurdo Ramirez, a fighter who has made history by being the first Mexican boxer to win a major world title in the super middleweight, light heavyweight, and cruiserweight division. His last fight was his first fight in the cruiserweight division, and he won the WBA belt.
And now,
His only loss came at the hands of one of the other fighters on this list, Dimitri Bivol. Prior to that, Zurdo had an incredible record of 44 wins with no losses or draws. Standing tall at 6'2", Ramirez leverages his height and reach advantage to maintain distance. His boxing style is a blend of tactical aggression and defensive acumen. Ramirez exhibits excellent footwork, enabling him to navigate the ring fluidly and avoid unnecessary exchanges. Zurdo had knocked out every opponent in the light heavyweight division until he had fought Dimitri Bivol, who we'll be analyzing later in this video. He has had only 6 fights in this division and has already challenged himself at a higher weight class, since he hasn't seemed to have stopped growing. Since he is fairly big for the division, he can be outpaced by faster fighters. He's also not really a volume puncher, very likely because his size doesn't allow him to throw combinations as fast as many of the other fighters in the division. Offensively, he is known for his powerful, precise combinations, often targeting the body to wear down the opponents before unleashing headshots. His punches are delivered with accuracy and significant power, making him a formidable force in the ring. Defensively, Ramirez employs a high guard and good head movement, minimizing the damage from incoming punches. His ability to adapt mid-fight and his relentless pressure characterize his style, making him a difficult opponent to outbox. At 32 years old, he still has a lot of gas left in the tank, and I think we'll be seeing him go up against only stellar opposition from here on in. For now, let's look at his current ring rating. His power is definitely a key trait to his style. He gets an 8 for power. This power does come at the price of a bit of speed. He gets a 6 for hand speed. Being as big as he is does help with taking body shots, and he hasn't been knocked down yet, so we'll give him a 9 for endurance. His pace does slow down if he outputs a lot of energy in a round, so he'll get a 6 for gas tank. He covers for that by being very selective with his shots, putting his technique at a 7. All in all, that makes him a solid 3.6 stars. Now let's move on to the next name on our list. At a year younger and a loss less than Zurdo, we have a long-time promising prospect, Joshua Buatsi. At 31 years old, he is unbeaten in 18 pro fights, with 13 of those wins by knockout. He also has an outstanding amateur record, even getting a bronze medal in the 2016 Olympic Games. He is known for his orthodox stance, sharp technical skills, and powerful punching. Buatsi, who fights at light heavyweight division, combines speed, precision, and defensive acumen to outclass his opponents. His boxing style is characterized by a strong jab, effective combinations, and a solid defensive guard, making him a formidable opponent in the ring. Turning professional in 2017, Buatsi made a name for himself with a series of impressive victories. He captured the WBA International Light Heavyweight title in 2018 and has successfully defended it multiple times. Buatsi's professional record is marked by a high knockout ratio, reflecting his power and finishing ability. Buatsi has dealt with injuries throughout his career, which have at times hindered his progress and ability to stay active in the ring. Similar to Zurdo Ramirez, Buatsi has faced criticism for not having fought many high-profile opponents. This has led to questions about how he would perform against the top contenders in the division. He is currently set to fight a very game Willie Hutchinson soon and has been pressing for a fight with Anthony Yarde as soon as possible. With that being said, there's no shortage of opposition in this division, and we hope we can see Buatsi show us what he's really made of. For now, let's see what his stats are made of. Boasting a 72% knockout ratio, Buatsi has big enough power to get him a 9. His combinations come off both smooth and quite quickly, quick enough to get him an 8 here. His toughness has yet to be tested, but so far, it's given the indication of also being around an 8. He manages his energy well and can throw combinations late into the fight, worthy of a 10 for gas tank. His amateur career has honed his technique well through the years. Buatsi has a 9 for technique, totaling up to an impressive 4.4 stars. Let's now have a look at the youngest fighter on this list. At 28 years old, Ben Whittaker has been grabbing the attention of boxing fans with blistering hand speed and captivating technical prowess. Attributing his incredible footwork to being a ballet dancer when he was a lot younger, Ben quickly took to the art of boxing, racking up an amazing amateur career, including getting a silver medal at the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. Since turning pro in 2022, his 8 fights have been a spectacle to watch. His footwork and head movement makes him seem like he sees everything in slow motion. He picks his punches efficiently and executes it with high precision, using his long reach to manage distance efficiently. Ben seems to have the concept of hit and don't get hit mastered. The harshest criticism he's gotten is that he showboats too much, seemingly not taking his opponents seriously. This may be the product of his fans wanting to see more knockouts than the 5 that he's already produced. If there is any time to showboat, however, it may as well be now while he's fighting less tough opposition at the start of his pro career. His showboating may also be the reason he hasn't knocked out all of his opponents, but it could also just be that his technical proficiency is so high that he doesn't feel the need to knock anyone out. Either way, we can't keep our eyes off of this stylish fighter, and his career is promising to say the least. So what does that mean for his stats? Ben doesn't seem to carry immense power, or maybe he hasn't shown it yet, so we're giving him a 6 for power right now. His speed, on the other hand, is blistering. A 10 is about right for a pair of the fastest hands in the division. His endurance is something else that hasn't been tested, since not many have managed to touch him. I would think that it's around 8, just taking everything into consideration. Even after throwing numerous combinations, he can still keep that pace up at the late rounds. He gets another 10 for gas tank. And finally, his mesmerizing technique gets another 10, bringing the surgeon's total to an incredible 4.4 stars, even with only having 8 fights. Now to move on to one of the 2 men holding all the belts in the division. The unified champion and the phenomenal knockout artist Artur Betev. He currently holds 3 of the 4 belts in the division and is not only undefeated but has a perfect 20 out of 20 KO ratio. Before turning pro, Betev was turning heads in the amateur scene. He took home gold medals in the 2006 and 2010 European Championships, as well as in the 2007 World Championships. In 2017, he won the IBF heavyweight title and has retained it ever since. His name gained a lot more traction after claiming the prestiged WBC belt from the, at the time, undefeated warrior, Alexander Gvozdyk. Betev has been building a tremendous resume in the last 2 years, with victories over Joe Smith Jr., Anthony Yarde and Callum Smith. Betev is known for his aggressive and relentless fighting style, characterized by his powerful punching and relentless pressure. His approach combines technical proficiency and brute strength, making him a formidable opponent in the division. His punches are precise and delivered with devastating force, often ending fights early. He maintains constant pressure on his opponents, forcing them into uncomfortable positions and capitalizing on their mistakes. His power-focused style can make him appear slower compared to more agile opponents, potentially making him susceptible to faster, more elusive fighters, but his excellent conditioning enables him to sustain his high-pressure style throughout the fight. Now let's look at the stats for this pound-for-pound great. Knocking out all 20 opponents to date easily gets this warrior a 10 out of 10 for power. His jab is quick, but doesn't often come off with lightning-fast combinations. He still gets an 8 for hand speed. He's been in the ring with some of the hardest hitters and hasn't been dropped yet. His endurance stands at a perfect 10. It doesn't seem like he slows down in the later rounds at all. He gets another 10 for gas tank. His footwork and precision combines really well with his power, giving him a 9 for technique, bringing the beast of this division's total to a crazy 4.7 stars. Betev is one of the pound for pound best fighters today, and fans are desperate to see him fight our next opponent on this list for undisputed status. So without further ado, let's look at the final contender on this list, Dmitry Bivol. Dmitry holds the last piece of the puzzle to the undisputed championship. He's undefeated in 23 fights, with his most talked about fight being handing the undisputed super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez his first loss in a decade. A few people have discredited Bivol somewhat for this victory, being naturally a weight class heavier, but this does just go to show what a high level of skill lies at the top of the light heavyweight division. He later went on to defeat Zurdo Ramirez, who we've looked at just a little while ago. Bivol flaunted his technical prowess brilliantly yet again. His fight IQ may be one of the highest in the game today. He showed this against both of them, being the bigger opponent and being the smaller man against Zurdo. He kept his razor sharp focus, picked his shots and executed them with precision every round. Some would say that his fighting style is not extremely exciting, since his knockout record is a lot lower than most of the fighters on this list, but it does yield results. We eagerly await seeing whether Bivol is the best in September this year when he faces Artur Betev for all of the belts. So let's look at the final rating of Dmitry Bivol. His power is known to be a bit underwhelming, but he still gets a fairly good 7 out of 10. The speed of those hands are quite a bit higher at a good 9 out of 10. He's taken punches from some of the more renowned power punchers without flinching, so he gets a 10 for endurance. His gas tank has never failed him later on, quite the opposite in fact, getting him a high 10 for gas tank. And his laser focus with his immaculate technique gets him a 10, bringing him a total of 4.6 stars. And that is it for the top of this division on paper. Let me know what your thoughts on these ratings are down in the comments below. I'd love to hear different perspectives if you have them. Also, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, please do leave a like on the videos and subscribe to the channel as it helps tremendously. Until next time.